All right, here we are, excited for this conversation because I've had a couple people that have just been stuck in their life. They don't know where they're going. They're not sure how things are working out. They don't even know. All right, here we are, excited for this conversation. Sometimes they don't even know how to get up in the morning and what to do next. So I want to have this conversation so we can help anybody that feels like they're stuck in their life elevate and move forward. Let's see where we are today. We'll see you soon. Peace.
When I am asked to speak, I embrace the calling. It is my responsibility to make sure to leave everyone inspired to elevate in all aspects of life. In the 26 states and 10 countries, it has been my energy that is infectious and magical. The impact elevates everyone to new heights. It's time to conquer our challenges. Relationships across the board, communication gaps, fear of the unknown, limited beliefs in all that holds us hostage in life. The path to power is peace, and peace is the power to live by. The unique perspective that I bring to the table inspires all. Professionals, executives, students, coaches, and athletes to reach their highest potential. That is why I, Sid McNary, am known as the secret weapon. Whether it is tackling mental health issues, success in business, or winning at life, every moment counts. Get ready to receive the tools to win. It's time to win at everything. Let's connect today. Peace.
Hello, my name is Miles. Discover a powerful journey of resilience, purpose, and spiritual growth in the autobiography of a human by Sid McNary. In this compelling autobiography, McNary shares the personal challenges and triumphs that shaped his path to success while offering insight for professionals seeking deeper meaning and balance in their own lives. Drawing from his experiences growing up Catholic, participating in indigenous vision quests, and studying the Buddhist path, he reveals how diverse spiritual traditions ultimately guide us toward the same destination: connection with the Creator and our highest selves. Through practices such as meditation, yoga, and spirit medicine, McNary demonstrates how life's victories and hardships can become opportunities for growth, self-discovery, and lasting peace. The autobiography of a human is more than a memoir. It is an inspiring reflection for professionals striving to align purpose, personal development, and inner clarity. Available now on Amazon, this transformative story invites readers to reflect, grow, and step confidently onto their own path of self-discovery and peace.
I feel like that's like a show tune. I don't know how I got that music. Yeah, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Howdy, gentlemen. All good, all good. Happy to be here.
Outstanding. I am very happy to be here. It's time blocked on what they call my calendar.
Nice. I'm glad we made it there.
Stop your noise.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm excited for this conversation just because I've seen a few people that are just in the struggle. You know, just really in the struggle, feel like they're stuck. And the first thing I'll say about this thought of being stuck, nobody's stuck. Some people aren't moving, but nobody's stuck. We're not sitting in a alien invasion world where we're flies on a fly paper, stuck and can't move, right? Like everyone can move. Now, some people in their mind, they're stuck. So therefore they're stuck. So I get that. And it's adjusting here first that produces the world as we go. And it's like one of my favorite verses is, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So now what? You know, so that I'm going to start with that. I'm going to keep it short right there and hand it to, we'll go to Tony first because I know Dr. Vibe likes to be last. It's just way.
Whatever room you give me, I'll take. So go ahead. You go ahead, Tony.
That's it. Well, first of all, you're right. I don't think we're on an alien invaded planet, but who knows? But the reality is, I love what you said, because the truth is, and there's a quote that says, if you're not happy, you don't like where you are, move. You're not a freaking tree, right? You can move,
Right.
you know.
But actually, trees. Have you not seen walking trees?
Only on Halloween and on stage and the kids'
No.
production of whatever.
Google it. There are trees that actually walk because their roots are above ground and they walk to get to the water on this land.
I've not seen it, but I have heard of that, of something like that, but I can't say that I've read up on it or know anything about it. But it's okay. So make like that tree and move, right? or do they say make like a tree and leave is the other line that we've all probably heard at one point or another. But the reality of it is, most people aren't stuck. They are stuck, but it's in their own mind and their own beliefs, or their own lack of belief in themselves and what they can do. The reality is that, we all go through that at some point in our life because of maybe something that happened, something that didn't go the right way, relationship that came apart. Maybe you said or did something that you regret or didn't want to. So now you retracted back, and you put yourself in your own little prison, because most people are stuck, but they're stuck in a prison of their own design, right? They're stuck in the prison of their own fears and what people put up walls. Let's just say this: people put up walls oftentimes to protect themselves, but that also keeps out what they want. It keeps out the good, keeps out the learning, keeps out the experience, keeps out the success, keeps out the very things that they want. And then they feel like they're stuck because they've backed themselves into a corner. They built a prison around themselves with their own words and actions and everything else. So most people, like you said, aren't stuck. They're only stuck in their own mind. And that's when, you should reach out to a friend. You should hire a coach. You should go to an event, a seminar, whatever. Get yourself unstuck. There's so much technology out there right now. There's apps. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook right now and YouTube, LinkedIn, and watch this very podcast right now, and get yourself unstuck by hearing and listening to other people that can maybe give you a different perspective on where you are. Because oftentimes you're stuck because you're only looking at your circumstance from one perspective, not from all perspectives, I guess is how I'll open that up.
Right on.
Okay, I will, if I have permission, I'll jump in, and I'm going to tie in what I'm going to say here in regards to it's Men's Mental Health Month. And so many men are under intense pressure, but suffer in silence. And research is showing these days that 1 in 5 men experience mental health disorder every year. Yet men are much likely than women to seek help. So building on what Tony just said, also, men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women, which shows how dangerous it can be when we say stuck and isolated instead of reaching out. So more men are reporting loneliness and a lack of close friends. About 15% of men report having no close friends at all. So as I end off what I'm sharing here, I'm going to say this: feeling stuck is human. Staying silent is what is really hurting us. And I'm coming from a men's perspective because this is called the men's circle. So that's where I land for now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate just having the place to look at that. And one thing I'd say is, like, here's a question for you both. Like, what are some of the things you have seen people stuck in? I mean, I see a lot of people stuck in alcoholism. That seems to be a big one. Another place that I see people stuck is, I just recently learned in the men's circle I'm in, a guy talked about being stuck in pornographic media and things of that nature. It's so not my place that I barely know how to even say it, to figure out how to say it properly. And then stuck in their relationship. That's a big one that a lot of people talk about. But go for it. What do you got, Tony?
So I'm going to jump in, and all of that you just said, including what Dr. Vibe said, a lot of it, so the loneliness that a lot of men feel is sad, but the saddest loneliness of all is when you're in a relationship and you feel alone. You're in a marriage, whether it's a loveless marriage, sexless marriage, intimacy-less marriage, that then will drive men to drink, that will drive men to porno, that will drive men in different places because they're not getting what they need. It's almost like your body will cannibalize itself. Think about this. Actually, it's the first time I'm processing this thought. Your body, your brain will cannibalize your body to get what it needs. If you're not giving it the right nutrients, your brain will say, no, I'm going to take that from the liver. I'm going to take that from the spleen. I'm going to take that, and then causing other problems. And in much the same way, when you're not in a healthy relationship, whether it's an abusive relationship, whether it's a neglectful relationship, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, it's going to show up and present itself in different ways. Loneliness. Well, how do men deal with loneliness if they have they're in a relationship with little to no intimacy, little to no sex? Well, they're either going to go out and cheat, or they're going to go to the less harmful thing and maybe go towards porno. But in a way, that's a bit of a cheat. But if they're not getting what they need, if they're not getting the sustenance that they need, they're going to cannibalize parts of themselves, right? And I think that it goes back to having healthy relationships with your significant other, with your spouse, and of course, healthy relationships with your friends, because that's something that's been talked about for the last 10 years in particular. Finally, we're starting to open that up about men's mental health, and suicide rate is 9 times greater in men than it is in women, or 8, or whatever that number is. But it's grossly, divisive. It's a big gap between one and the other. And that's because men are told, walk it off, suck it up, be a man in one way. But on the other side, like, you're being a freaking, you're being a toxic masculine, which, by the way, I think is a bullshit term. It doesn't really exist. I think that's created by toxic feminine, if anything, because if you can't have toxic masculine, if you don't have toxic feminine, which I think there's just masculine and feminine. And and that's maybe a conversation for another day, but there is masculine and feminine energy. We all carry it, both of them. Yet, when you attack masculinity, you F with men's mental and physical health, right? So you can't tell a man up, walk it off. What are you, a pussy because you're crying? Whatever. And the other side said, you're being too masculine, you're being too aggressive, don't be a bitch, or show me your emotions, or there's so much noise and so much pulling, and it's hard these days to be alone, right? And you need to have a place to vent with your guy friends. You need to have an open conversation and open dialogue with your significant other. And I think that's why places like this men's circle is important, just to hear it, right? Listen, we've all had challenges. I've had moments in relationships that things aren't where I'd like them to be, but then you've got to just, you've got to work through it and ask for help and seek counsel from those who've been there before, right? And speak to, maybe it's somebody, maybe it's a relationship counselor, maybe it's a psychiatrist, maybe it's a psychologist, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's just a friend. Oftentimes people, they don't need a psychiatrist or psychologist. All they need is someone to lend them an ear, just to listen, right? And just to have a safe space to talk about things. So, yeah, that's kind of what came to mind on that.
Yeah. With permission granted, I guess I can take the stick, as Sid would say, if I can take the stick for a few moments. First part, Sid wanted to say, what areas am I seeing men stuck in? I'll give you a few. Money and provider pressure. That's a whole other conversation itself. And the way that the economy is these days, that's a whole conversation. I just did a quick look up online here that recent surveys show more than half the men say financial struggles make them feel like they're falling short of, quote, being a man, unquote. And many report feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and stuck when it comes to money. And also another fact here or research here. About 2/3 of men in one survey said financial concerns hurt mood or mental health at least weekly. And over 70% feel society expects them to handle money stress silently. Is that crazy or what? So that tells you that men are being stuck between rising economic pressure and all expectations to be the silent provider. Another area I'd say challenges work, career, and advancement. Also friendship, loneliness, and connection, mental and emotional health, purpose, identity, and life direction. There are just so many different areas. And it's funny because I was in a conversation with a group of men about this last night, and the conversation was initially for an hour. We went for 2.5 hours. And building on what Tony said, having, I like to say that safe and brave space where you can share. There's a gentleman going, I can't remember. What was Sid, what platform did you and I meet on again? What was it called again?
Clubhouse.
There's a gentleman named Brian. I don't know if you remember him, Sid. Brian from the West Coast. And what he actually formed, he had a board of directors.
Oh, Bam?
No, I can't remember his last name at the moment. But
That's Brian Franklin. But no, it might be, is it the body language guy?
I don't know. I'm going to look up his name in just a moment. But I found it a very unique idea that what he did is he had a group of us meet with him every month, and he would share everything that was going on in his life. And he wanted us to provide feedback, good, bad, or ugly. So I think, first of all, when it comes feeling stuck, acknowledging you're stuck is the first thing. And not that you're not the only person in the world that's stuck, but I can go further down the road and I'll share after. But those are the areas I see men coming to me that they're stuck in, Sid.
I gotcha. It's interesting because we have this idea that death is wrong in any fashion. And I'm not in that belief system. Now, am I looking for people to run off and kill themselves? No. And if someone chooses to take that route home, one, they have to deal with the consequences. Do I know exactly what those consequences look like? No, yet I've seen thousands of people that have been interviewed about the afterlife. So there is some place you go in a dark way if you're not clear in your own mind. So that's there, which suicide, you're not clear in your own mind, you could end up in that dark place. Now, for anyone watching this, if you happen to be in the dark place, everybody that's ever been in a dark place and made their way back to earth, the people that were interviewed, is 2,000 something people. Those that went to the dark place, when they asked for God, they immediately came out. When they asked for God's help. But otherwise, there were dark energies and beings that were holding them hostage. You call it whatever you want to call it. I'm not interested in going there, so I don't need a name for it. I know I'm just staying out. Now, you can do all the different things. And I think so often when I look at what does the Dark Lord want to have happen for people is for them to be in a place that they feel condemned in here, is separated from whatever the highest of all, whatever you want to call it. Now, I am in favor of Christianity and Jesus because there's a heck of a lot of people that talk about him that don't even believe in him. So there's a lot that way for me that I trust in that. And so I think it's important because I look at so many people put something in front of God. And then they're stuck there. They're really stuck in that. All the things that they've put in front of God. And one of those things, and I know some people aren't going to be okay with this, and that's okay. That because you won't be okay with it if you put it in front of God. And so I'm going to say this right now. That label of alcoholic, you put it in front of God as if God couldn't clean that up for you. I'm 20 years sober, not because I ever wore the label. And I know most people will be like, well, you didn't have the disease. Okay, fine. I'm gonna let you keep that one because I'm not trying to inherit the disease of it. But I'm here to tell you that my DNA says it is a disease for me to add it to my body. Period. So I know that. And I think that's so much of it is whatever you want to call it that does it. I don't really care what you want to call it, but there is something. And if you don't acknowledge that there's something dark, you just haven't lived long enough on earth.
Yeah, I think what winds up happening is when people get into drugs and alcohol and any other addiction, gambling, porno, whatever, it has a lot to do with people trying to mask the pain, right? And to dull the pain of whatever they're experiencing. I have a very strong opinion on suicide, which isn't popular for many, but so I'm not going to go into it too much, except to say that there's very few instances where I would, be agreeable, or I would, say I understand, because ultimately what happens. And if anyone's in that position, by all means, message one of us or call, 611 or there's helplines that you can call for that, because there is always somebody out there that's willing to help. There's always somebody out there that's been through whatever you're going through. You are not alone. So whatever difficulty you're going through, whether it be a relationship, financial, whether it be health, whether it be whatever that is, whatever that problem is, somebody else has been through it. Somebody's grown through it. Somebody's come out on the other side. So don't make a permanent decision over a temporary situation. That's right. I said a situation. All right, let's say it again for you guys to hear that, because that's what people wind up doing. And if you're in the people that are in that position, they will take their pain, they will magnify it by 100. And when they take that action, they force feed that pain to everyone who actually cared about them. There's people that say, well, nobody cares about me. No, at some point somebody did. Right? All you're doing is you're running away from whatever that problem is, and you're dumping that problem on someone else's plate. If you're back on your mortgage, and you know what, you're gonna end it all. Well, guess what? Your wife and kids are still gonna deal with the fact that you don't have a mortgage, except now they're dealing without a husband, they're dealing without a parent. You're taking away. Not to mention, going back to what you were saying, Sid, and religion and God and everything else. Life is a gift that was given to you, and it's not yours to take. And that's a big FU, middle finger up to your creator for doing that, because we're here. Life is something that that we're blessed with. Not everyone has the opportunity to live to 50 or 55 or 60 or 65 or 70 or 10. Right? It's a gift. You had one in a couple of billion chances of being here, and to be born in this time, which, we're living in arguably the greatest time in history, and arguably one of the darkest times, depending what lens you're looking at. But think about it. And I think I brought this up in here in the previous call. We have luxuries now that the kings didn't have access to 100 years ago, 120 years ago. Running hot water. What? Heat. Air conditioning. Right? Opportunity, health, medicine. We have an overabundance of everything right now. The majority of us do. We're blessed more than most. So to take your life, I think and again, I'm gonna stop short of expressing my thought, my full opinion on that. I think it's a mistake, because all you're doing is shifting that pain onto others that don't deserve it. You have an opportunity to be here. Yeah, sometimes we get dealt a shitty hand, but it's your hand to play, and it's your opportunity to play the hell out of it. If you don't like your situation or your situation, do something different today that will give you a different outcome tomorrow. You're living the life today based on your decisions, your actions or lack thereof yesterday, and the day before that, and the month before that, and the month before that. You want a different tomorrow, you got to do something different today. Start today. do something different that may be even counterintuitive to whatever you've been doing.
Good stuff. I'll just jump in here with permission that we all have to realize that we weren't designed to carry everything by ourselves. Not me. I can't carry everything by myself, and I wasn't designed to do that. So I just want to say that also research is clear, and piggybacking what Tony said earlier on, research shows that men with friendships are healthier, happier, and live longer. And I was on a panel chatting about this last night. I didn't have a chance to share this story. And many years ago, I had the opportunity to mentor a young gentleman who worked at a grocery store. And I would go by there every week, and a bunch of us would chat, et cetera, et cetera. And this went on for a while. And then one day on a Sunday, one of our group called me. I said, okay, no one from the group has called me on a Sunday before. So my intuition started getting, He said, are you okay? I said, yeah. He says, you're going to need to sit down. And I said, uh-oh. And I'll just condense the story. This young gentleman who was in his 20s, who I was assisting moving along with life, looked okay on the outside, studying to get into HR, etc. like this. He suffered from depression. What happened is that he was really suffering badly, had a really bad bout of depression, and he was in the hospital. He unalived himself in the hospital. So I again want to piggyback what Tony said. Please reach out. So and Sid has put the line in the comments, or contact information in the comments. Use it. I think that's only in US. I'm based in Canada. I think that number is also applicable in Canada. I will look up while we're on here to put the number in Canada. But this stuck thing, it's not the end of the world if you're stuck. Because I firmly believe if everything went right for us, most of us would find something to complain about anyways. So stuck is part of the journey. And I don't mind being stuck. And I've recently been through things that I sat on that I was stuck for a few weeks. And I was blessed that I have good men in my circle that I could say, you know what, I'm stuck on this. What do you suggest? And finally, after a few weeks, I got out of my stuck mode, did it, felt better, and now it's like a full circle. Everything's turned out fine. But being in that stuck mode was not good. It was not good because and most of the time also we have to realize, men, when you're stuck, it's not just a lot of times just impacting you. It's also impacting other people. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll pass the stick back to Sid.
In the Bible, it says, thou shalt not kill. Taking your life is right there in that way. So if you're looking at following the Bible, if you say that and you go do it, you've just gone against the Bible. And I still go into this space of, for me, this place is here to learn. That's what we're doing here. Like, we actually spend a third of our time at least going back to where we were when we're asleep, and you're not dreaming, and you're not awake. You're still there. So when you take this body away, you're still there. That's it. You're still there. You go wherever it is that we go when we close our eyes and we are not able to access this machine that we move around. And so when I look at the space of awareness around thou shalt not kill, well, it must be an opinion, because I say that to say, if it weren't an opinion, then you wouldn't even be able to do it. So it's not fact. That's an opinion. And most people won't look at things and get really clear on them so deeply because you're here to learn. And if you take that space away that you aren't able to learn because you leave, you'll still be you. And you will eventually have to learn it. That's it. That's real. And I'm talking about getting to the real truth, not everybody's opinions, because opinions can change. We say thou shalt not kill, but we got wars all over the world. So if one person chooses to actually go against that commandment, there's a whole lot of people doing it constantly. So I just want us to get, like it says in this book, that I really shied away from. I pushed away speaking from the book for years because I wanted people to look at the truth. Then recently, because people kept pushing back, I'm like, all right, let me just show you. And I went through and took all the lessons from books that I have, and especially Sutras of Quantum Living, and I put and found for every lesson for a year, every lesson, four verses in the Bible that actually support or speak directly to what I'm looking at, what I'm talking about. So when I say this, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Thou shalt not kill. Well, you got to actually start living it out. And so for me, I really sit in that, like, okay, there's something before the need to think about taking your own life, committing murder on yourself. And we have to get there before we worry about whether or not because a baby doesn't know anything about killing themselves. But as soon as we say thou shalt not kill, we've taught a baby to kill. We taught a baby to kill themselves. We've taught that grows into the adult that does it. But if we're actually teaching, help everybody live well, we actually would cut down these numbers on the things that the devil's happy to see you come on downstairs with it.
So if I can just jump on that. Number one, I did have an NDE on my 18th birthday. So there is another side. I absolutely believe it. And it's not scary, but it's interesting. So there is something outside of where we are, because again, we're energy. Ultimately, our soul is energy. Energy doesn't go away; it just dissipates and turns into something else, right? So I think that's a truth. And then so many people, they're just worried about, well, they fell. Well, it doesn't matter how many times you fall; it's how many times you get up. You fall down 7 times, you get up 8, 9, 10, however many times you fall. And every time you fall, you have an opportunity to learn. Every time you get up, you have an opportunity to grow, because you've learned. Hopefully you've learned from the last mistake. But unfortunately, some people just don't learn. They, instead of continue to move forward with the lessons that they've learned, they decide to stay where they're at. Hence, again, I've also said this in here before, many people die at 25, get buried at 75 when they die, and they say they lived 50 years, but all they've done is they lived the same year 50 times because they didn't outgrow whatever that situation was, whatever that pain was. They didn't forgive, they didn't let go, they didn't appreciate, they didn't learn. So they stay stuck. And that's where that stuck thing is, where people feel like they're stuck. That's because they're not learning the lesson that life is trying to teach. Why does this shit keep happening to me? Because you haven't learned the damn lesson. Pay attention. Look around. What is causing that? Is it someone else that's doing it to you? Or is it you that's doing it to you? Or is it you that's choosing the wrong people time and time again? We got to look inwards and accept radical responsibility for some of the decisions we make. Because some of us are stuck because of the actions that we're taking or we're not taking. And as I said before, we're living the life today that we started creating 20, 30 years ago. And we've been fine-tuning all along. If it's good, great. If it's bad, shit happens. Hang in there. It's going to pass. This too shall pass. Every storm passes. So this morning in the clubhouse room, I shared a story about, they call this the shortest book ever written. It's 4 chapters. And so I don't butcher it up. I actually looked it up. And it was actually an autobiographical poem called The Guide to Rational Living by Portia Nelson. It's often called There's a Hole in My Sidewalk. And I've been saying a hole in the street, but it's a hole in my sidewalk. And this is great. I heard this a few years ago. I didn't know who it was, but I looked it up, so I made sure that I got it right and give credit where credit is due. So it's 5 short chapters. And this fits like a freaking glove, not OJ's glove. It fits like a real good fitting glove. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same damn place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. But we insist on walking down the same street and pretend the hole isn't there. The hole is there. Either fill the goddamn hole or walk down a different street. Because what we tend to do is we keep falling on shit that's behind us. We keep tripping on stuff that's behind us. From mistakes from our past, we keep reliving the same mistake because we didn't learn the lesson. Walk down a different street or fill the damn hole, one or the other.
I mean, for me, I put the hotline up because, Dr. Vibe brought suicide in. So I'm like, all right, just in case somebody needs it, so they don't call Sid and say, hey, Sid, you talked about this and that person. No. The first thought is never the one. It's the second thought that you choose to go do whatever you do. I don't give a darn what I say. You listening have to choose to be different. And when you choose to be different, your life on the next step after saying, I want to be different, and you go make a different choice is when your life will be different. Period. Exclamation point. I don't care how you want to slice it, how you want to look at it. That's how that comes up. And so I know people don't want to hear it because they're making money off of mental illness now. So they don't want you to actually get clear for yourself, because if you did, mental illness is just like this sick care they're offering people right now. Because you need people to be sick so you can get them care. You need people to be mentally hurting so you can get them care. I just want you healed. Period. Done. I don't even want to be the heal, even though I do that on a grand scale. Like, young man brings his mom because she's got breast cancer on a grand scale. I didn't say I want to heal my wife. I said, God, take this thing so that if you want me to go help these other people, heal my wife. I said that flat out. It's going in a movie. Like, got permission from her. It's going in a movie that way. Because if we want to get free, you'll be free. If you don't, you won't. And it's okay if you go back home and got to get sent back so you can do some research here on Earth School. Because you will be. You'll come back. You'll have to do it over, figure it out. If there's some place for you to go after that, you might go down before you get to come to Earth School. So you make that choice. Like, oh, it's okay. It really is okay. It is okay if you choose not to be here. Now deal with it on the other side, because it's a natural law in science. In the makeup of every action has a reaction. Every one of them. So do it here. There's going to be a reaction in the afterlife. Live well. There's going to be a reaction in the afterlife. We don't have to call it heaven and hell, even though I like to say that because it was simple. It was brought to me early on, like heaven and hell. Which one you going to choose? Feed the evil, feed the good. one of two wolves. Like, we can say it in many different ways. It all comes back to the same thing, and you have to do it. Whoever is listening, you have to do it.
No,
if your life keeps on that repeat of the same things you've experienced, I did it. I experienced divorce twice and said, damn, I'm in these relationships. And if I get another one, I'm going to be in that one. I had to choose the shift. That's how I have the relationship that I have now. Not because, I mean, my wife is amazing. And if I wanted to make it a problem, it could be a problem. It's real.
So if I can just jump on that. So a couple of things. I think that one of the problems that we're having with the sick care system is they're actually promoting mental illness. Do you know that now if you have anxiety, there's people that are trying to get on Social Security because they can't work because they have social anxiety? You know the level of bullshit you've got to believe to say that your anxiety, so you may have a little anxiety, but you go to the doctor and says, oh my God, you have a real problem. It's a real anxiety. And now they medicate you. Now you're a medicated person with anxiety. You get freaking handicap stickers. You get all this shit. You get emotional support dogs that you pay $250 for your doctor. You pay $250 to go get a thing just so you can bring your dog on planes and restaurants and don't have to pay extra for rent and everything else. Of course, not paying attention to the fact that every freaking animal is an emotional support animal, right? Including your significant other, right? But the reality of it is, it's being promoted. Look at, and again, not to open this can of worms, which I'm happy to walk down that road anyway, but think about the mental health crisis that we're having, that that people think that men can have babies and that men and women are the same and there's no difference between one and the other. And you have people dressed like dogs and barking and, getting then attacked by dogs because they're in a dog park on all fours, where it's just madness. And this is being promoted socially by the media, by freaking crazy ass politicians, by whatever. Mental illness is being promoted, right? It's being promoted. And that's one of the problems that we have. So people feel like they're stuck, that they can't talk about it. And then again, there's a lot of stuff that's happening and it is a problem. So I'm glad that we're having the conversation. So we can go down that road if you want. But again, mental illness is being promoted because the more mental illness they have, the more medications that they can give you, the more medications they can give you, then, that medication. Because by the way, here's something to point out. Every single mass shooting in schools in particular, every one of them, the kids were on some kind of antipsychotic or mind altering some shit, medicated. Some of them did it because then they're off the medication, whatever, but they should not have been medicated anyway. We dumb down kids with all kinds of drugs because they don't learn the same way that other kids do. I love the I think it was Einstein that said, if you judge a fish by his ability to climb a freaking tree, he's going to think himself an idiot his whole life. Right. But instead we medicate and we dumb down kids. So two things. One, every single one of those school shootings, the kids were on some kind of medication for some mental instability, whether real or not. And then more recently, in the last 8 or 9 years, every one of them was trans as well. On top of that,
I had to do some fact check on that. That's not true. Yeah. Not every shooting is done that way.
But again, okay. So you got to keep in mind how things.
I think we got to be absolutely, especially if I'm involved.
No, you're right. But here's the thing: it's the media.
Truth. Otherwise,
it's the media, right? But it's the media that's reporting this, and oftentimes we don't even hear what was happening because if it doesn't fit the narrative, if it doesn't fit the round peg doesn't fit in the square hole that they're trying to put in.
Now, I just want you to know so that you don't go to Clubhouse or somewhere else to tell this. Only 20% have been found to be on a medication. Only 20%. That's 80% of these things that we're shooting. They weren't on anything. Just so you know, because
again, I don't know. You look hard enough on social media, you're gonna find different results for the same thing.
You can count on social media being. I'm
in social media.
Lean into.
The internet search. If you do an internet search,
I like using Claude that does the digging.
Yeah.
or like using Perplexity that does the digging on all of the internet, because I can't do all of that. But
I will
can,
tell you
and will
this.
tell you.
But even with that, Sid, I use ChatGPT a lot. I got ChatGPT Pro.
Well,
whatever,
that one's already screwed up.
But I know, but as an example, you can ask even Claude or Gemini, you can ask it something and it's going to give you a surface answer. And a lot of times there are biases based on how it was programmed. And sometimes if you ask the same question in a different way, only on the third time do you actually get the answer.
All right, so let's just go with this.
The question you were looking for.
Anytime we say always or never, you are likely wrong.
Right. You're right. I would say a lot of the times. A lot of the times.
I can go with that
because you got to remember. I mean,
but at
obviously,
the same time,
for somebody to do that, you've got to be mentally
be an opposite on that. There's going to be an opposite. So when we put these things out, and that's why I'm just like, "Thou shalt not kill." Okay, whatever you want to say, however you want to say that, you can say that, but God didn't say that. Because if God said that, the God that I know, the power that I know that could actually rip me off this earth right now with something really simple, a lightning bolt. So God could shoot that right through my house right now. And if he didn't want to do that, he'd say, hey, let's crash a plane into Sid's house. Let's run a freaking truck into Sid's house. Let's do a million different ways that God could say, you killed and I don't want it. You go. But it doesn't. It doesn't do that. So all these people, and I'm very much, I've been going to church religiously, literally, every Sunday for this year. Liz and I committed to it because I'm plugging in. I got to plug in and really look at my own stuff so that I can evaluate it and make sure I'm walking down the path that I know is best for me, that ultimately with all these people that I'm teaching and that are following me, that it becomes the best for them. And that is there. When there's a hole, I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna talk about it. And people probably get upset, especially the believers, because they just believe, but they don't know. I want to know with beyond a shadow of a doubt. I want to know everything that ever comes out of my mouth so that when I go to speak it to somebody that may be about to pull the trigger. I had a young lady come to my class. This was 2007. She came to my class for the first time. And I didn't know, but I always try to greet people when they come and when they leave. This lady would come in, little girl. She came in, she signed up with somebody else. She was late when she would come to my class. She'd be out before I could even get back there to try to catch her. For 7 years, that happened. Eventually, she came up to me and said, Sid, I just want to introduce myself. And I was like, thank heavens. It's about time. Like, I've been trying every day. I can stop this now. And she said, the first time I came, I had been to a synagogue, I had been to a church, I had been to a mosque, I'd been to a Buddhist temple, and then you were it. I was going to commit suicide that day. But you welcomed me, and I knew I wanted to come back to see you. And thank you for saving my life. She could have killed herself. I wouldn't even known. I would have just assumed she just didn't want to see me again. But the real was she kept her life because she had something worth coming back to. And that's it to me. Like if someone commits suicide and they're on your watch, you're part of the equation. And it's up to you to get the lesson so nobody else has to do it because you shifted you. Like if somebody is there, it's okay that maybe you didn't see them, but now see the next person. That's the level of responsibility for me because when I look at life, I'm looking at it from this eye of it's all a reflection of me so I can get the lessons I need. That's walking the red road in the customs of the American Indians, of my elders. Walking the red road, seeing the divine in everything. And the divine is even in death. Yeah, that's just what comes up.
It's good. I know we're coming up to the top now, so I'm going to make it quick.
The quick one.
Yeah. So I'm going to give 4 really quick points on suggestions when you feel stuck. And this is for any man or those who love men out there. Just some suggestions. Number 1, Name it clearly. Feeling stuck is often about confusion, fear, or story we're telling ourselves. So a lot of stuckness starts in our own thinking. So if you're stuck, name where you're stuck. Then ask better questions. So ask yourself, tell me why that's true. You know, when you keep gently questioning your own narrative, you expose excuses, blind spots, and new perspectives that open up options and opportunities. Number 3, shrink the next step. So look at what's the next small step that you can make within the next, maybe suggestion in the next 24 to 48 hours. Text someone, book a call, walk for 10 minutes, update your resume, write one honest page in a journal. And then finally, and Tony mentioned this earlier, get one layer of support. Almost every behavior change model shows people that are stuck with change will change better when they have accountability and support, not when they muscle it on their own. So that support may be a trusted friend, a men's group, a faith community, or professional. The key thing is that you're not carrying it alone. So as I wrap, I say, when you feel stuck, man, don't aim for a miracle. Aim for clarity, one small step, and one solid person in your corner. I'm complete.
I love it. Yeah, definitely one person in your corner at the very least. Having more than one is great, but even if you just have one, that's enough. And by the way, in order for you to have that person, you have to be that person for someone else.
Mm.
Remember that, because there's somebody else out there that might be struggling. If you haven't heard from one of your friends in a while, reach out. I got into the habit of when I think of someone, I call them or I shoot them a text message, because there's a reason that they popped into my mind, especially if I hadn't seen them for a while. There was a client, I spoke to her last night, and she's jumping back on coaching, and I hadn't spoken to her for a while. And I thought of her yesterday morning. She called me in the afternoon, right? As just a kind of a strange thing. And what you guys were saying, kind of remember the next step. There's a book, a short book. It's a great book. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And there is a passage in that book, and I actually looked it up so I can have the actual words, because I even though I think I would hit them all. And at one point, the boy says, they're in the woods. It's dark, and they're walking through the woods, and it's foggy and it's dark. And the boy gets lost. Says, "I can't see my way through," said the boy. "Can you see the next step?" said the horse. "Yes." "Just take that one." Just take the next step. I for a few years I would walk every morning, rain, shine, snow, didn't matter if it was 20 degrees below, 110 degrees, I was walking in the morning. And some of my favorite walks involve fog. And I would go out when it's barely light out. And I'd walk around a turn, and I couldn't see. It was so thick. It's like I'm walking in milk, right? I couldn't see any more than 30, 40 feet in front of me. So you don't know what's coming. But here's what I do know. I've got a 3-foot stride. Every step I took forward, I saw 3 feet further, right? So it's just about taking that next step. You don't have to know, going back to the quote of, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the next step. Just take the step. The one thing you can know for sure, if you don't take a step, you stay where you are, you're stuck. That's why you're stuck, because you're refusing to take that step. Muster up the courage to take that step, because, my friends, here's another quote from Paulo Coelho: "The treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear to enter." Just like the success you seek lies in the work or don't get upset for the success you don't have for the work you didn't do, kind of thing. You've got to take action, take that next step. And yeah, sometimes you got to take a step into that cave. It's scary, but that's where you got to go. But at the very least, if you do nothing else, just take the next step.
I want to say thank you both for having this conversation. Yeah, it's needed. There's plenty of people out there that do feel stuck. Know that it's not real, and then find your way out of it. Like, how do you get out of a hole? Stop digging. So thank you both for taking the time to be part of this conversation, and I'll see you in the green room. And as I close this up, my wife, Liz, and I have taken on being with, being with the marriage counseling for 1122, the church we go to. And as we went through the marriage mentoring program this weekend, they gave out this card and it says SCORE. And SCORE stands for select the issue. So you got to know the issue that you're working with. Once you know the issue, you have a way out. Stop digging in the same thing so that you can move forward. And then if you're with somebody or somebody's with you, confirm the issue so that you know it beyond a shadow of a doubt, so that you can move on from where that is, and then find solutions, offer solutions if you're working with somebody, but find solutions to move forward from the issue. There is always a solution if you stop digging in the hole, and then ultimately resolve the issue. When you resolve the issue, you will no longer feel like you're stuck because you'll move on to something else. You may have more issues to deal with, but that's called living. Life is always lifing. There's nothing to get stuck in that way. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Head over to sidmcnary.com. Love to get in touch and continue to connect and go deeper. That's what it's about. Human understanding, understanding yourself so that you can personally evolve beyond the places of where you think you were stuck. So keep going. That's all you got to do. Just keep going. Peace.
I've been at peace for so long. It seems like I've been sitting all alone. Would you know when the crew is coming through? They're the ones that will make anew. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta choose the truth. We the ones that will raise the roof. Let's roll up and throw down. Let's go and feel the sound. Good vibes, one tribe. Can you feel me now? Be you, be me, be free. Go and take it till we bounce the beat. Take it to the streets, make a move the feet. I can slow it down, look in my eyes now. Just like you two want it fast. Spread them wings and make it last. God was the one to erase the past. Time to bring it forward to see the forecast. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. That was God's broadcast. That was God's broadcast. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace.